Would you please give a very warm welcome, please, to Paul O'Donnell.
Thanks very much, Bob, and thanks for that great introduction. Yeah, I'm the Managing Director of eXPD8 Ireland, and I'm going to share with you this morning the importance of technology to how we undertake our activities and we deliver success on behalf of the brands that we represent. And Bob's already shared with you some of the brands that we work on behalf of. I'm delighted that Jerry Lloyd from Largo Foods is following on my presentation with the presentation about Largo Foods, and you'll know obviously the Largo Food brands and the fantastic Mr. Tato. Jerry, you're very welcome. I very much appreciate you attending today as well. So how do we use technology to deliver brand success? Well, sorry, Bob, I better introduce myself, actually. Sorry, yeah. Bob did say to introduce myself, but personally, I have been 23 years directing operations at a senior level on behalf of major businesses. I've been a director of Musgrave Wholesale Partners. I was a director of Kalina Logistics Ireland, and I set up that business. I was a director for SHS Sales and Marketing, and a long time ago, I was a director for TDG Logistics and helped set up that business through the establishment of the Kilcarbery facility back in the 90s. I'm a graduate of Cranfield School of Management, where I have a master's degree, and I'm also a graduate of the University of Ulster at Coleraine. I'm happily married with 3 kids, with a daughter doing the Leaving Cert, a son doing the Junior Cert, and a younger son, the baby, just started secondary school. And so we've got to try and keep the stress in the house down this year with so many people doing exams, which isn't helped because I'm also a follower of Aston Villa Football Club, and it's a particularly stressful period for us this year. But I also support Donegal GAA, so you know, make of that what you will. Okay, just put a bit of context on what we do, and I think this is important in terms of eXPD8. And these figures are for both eXPD8 Ireland and eXPD8 UK. So in any given year, we do over 1.5 million hours of store visits. We take over 7.4 million photographs, and we visit 16,500 locations. So we do field marketing. So that means brand activation, promotional activation, merchandising, mystery shopping, compliance calls, stock takes, etc., etc. I'll just give a bit of background to who we are, and Bob's already shared some of this with you. I won't dwell on it too long. We're better known as TradeWinds, and TradeWinds was established in 1995 and provides fully integrated marketing and sales implementation to iconic Irish and global brands, and we're very proud to represent the likes of the Tato brands and the Largo brands, King Crisps, and Hunky Dory's, and their other brands. We also work with Kerry Foods, we work with Nielsen, we work with Danone, amongst many others. The eXPD8 business was established in 2002 by 2 guys in Bristol, Pete Bailey and Mark Thurgood, 2 guys who were steeped in retail. Both had been directors in Summerfield and Lidl UK. They started off in an office with only a couple of people. They now employ 1,600 merchandisers or field staff and have deployed technology. And a very important decision they took at the outset of that business was that the technology and a technological platform would be at the basis of everything that they do. They are, and have been for the last couple of years, the fastest growing field marketing business in the UK. In March 2014, the TradeWinds business was acquired in a friendly takeover by Izzet Group, which is the owner of eXPD8, and eXPD8 Ireland was created through the consolidation of the TradeWinds business and the eXPD8 Ireland existing business. We employ in excess of 500 field staff. We've deployed the standard practices and processes that eXPD8 UK have in their operations, and we've now deployed 400 field tablets. Those field tablets are Samsung Galaxy Tab 4s, so people will be familiar with them. They're very similar to an iPad. Some people probably have them at home, or if not, then their kids probably have them at home and use them. And we've now implemented a world-class scheduling and reporting system. We've got 3 guiding principles within the business. They are to deliver service excellence, first time, every time. We don't always achieve it, but we absolutely strive for it. To provide best value and to employ a highly engaged team. enabled by world-class technology. So technology is at the basis of everything that we do. It provides the basis of all our activities. If you can imagine that we undertake thousands of calls every week, we take thousands of photographs, we do thousands of questionnaires, and we employ people working in every town and village and virtually every retailer in Ireland on any given week, working on behalf of dozens of clients, undertaking different activities on a week-to-week basis. That type of service would be nigh on impossible without a technological platform. So what I'm going to do this morning in the presentation is I'm going to share a bit of information in terms of how we use the technology to deliver brand success and therefore drive sales. But what is important is that the principles that I'm talking about, although they are specific to us and our clients, these can be applied to any brand, any service, any product, any business. So it's very important, although I'm talking about our example, this is not about us, this is about the principles of how brands can succeed and grow sales through the use of technology. There's a really important point here, and Bob mentioned it earlier on actually. If consumers can't find the brand they like, they'll switch, and they may not switch back. Nielsen's analysis indicates that 67% of purchase decisions are made at the point of sale, and shoppers generally, on a retail shop, on a grocery shop, spend 15 seconds making the decision. So clearly, if the product isn't available or isn't presented in a way that is attractive to the consumer will buy an alternative product. So availability and compliance are absolutely essential, and the studies back that up. You can have a fantastic above-the-line marketing campaign. If the product isn't there for when the client wants to buy it, then you've failed on your brand promise to the client. Similarly, you can have a great product, but if it's not there, they're not going to buy it. They will switch that product. And the University of Chicago, in the Journal of Consumer Behavior, did a recent study, and what they found is that when a consumer goes to buy a product, if it's not there, they look for a suitable alternative. I mean, that's common sense, we all do that. They look for a suitable alternative. If they find one that is equal quality and equal or relatively equal cost, they will switch. Again, that's reasonably common sense. But the important factor in respect of that is a substantial proportion of those consumers will not switch back. So that is why having availability and compliance are absolutely essential to growing sales within a business. Absolutely essential. Some consumers actually will switch retailer. So for retailers, for the brand, that's okay, that the consumer has gone and found another retailer that sells the product. But in either case, either the brand loses out or the retailer loses out. So availability and compliance are absolutely essential to deliver brand success and grow sales. So how can technology help brands to increase sales? I'm going to share with you how we do it. But again, these principles can be applied to any brand, any product and any service, I believe. At the centre of everything that we do is the client and is the consumer. So before we do any activity or any work, we sit down with our clients and we understand in depth what is it they're trying to achieve. Is it a planogram change? Is it a promotional launch? Is it standardized merchandising? Is it compliance checking? So we agree with the client what exactly it is that they would like us to do. And from that, our account management team gather a client brief. And then we determine through that where the activity is going to take place. Is it going to be in a department store, a high street fashion retailer, convenience store, or one of the grocery multiples? And here we have eXPD8 head office. And you can see the team looking out the window. On the right, it's obviously a quiet day, folks. So we'll have a look through the window and see what's going on. I'd just like to point out, actually, that I don't insist on my team having a picture of me on their desks. And I don't have a picture of myself on my desk either. So I'd just like to thank the media team for that. That's great. Thanks very much, folks. Actually, they were looking for a photograph of me as a child, so I'm glad that's the one that they selected. The account management team, having agreed with the client what the brief is, then create the merchandiser brief. That includes store information, product information and question types. And we then select the merchandiser or the field member of staff. And that is selected based on a geographic location, store location, and the relative skill set of the person that's required to do the work. Because not all field staff have the same training, same capability, same availability. And here you can see In terms of the technological platform, all our staff have a Samsung Galaxy tablet. The call is set up based on the client's brief, and that is then synchronized to the individual field member of staff, field member of staff. And here you can see one of our team outside one of the grocers about to do looks like a Christmas activation judging by the Santa's hat. And she's about to walk in some point of sale for that Christmas activation. So when she syncs her tablet, as all our staff do on a daily basis, it automatically syncs the detailed brief to her, details the store that she's to do the work in, and the time and the details of the actual call. So you can see here on the brief, it includes things such as the planogram, the range, SKU and pricing, store information, and questions. And the questions can be numeric, how many. It can be textual. It can be give us a description of this. It can be yes and no. Our tablets have the ability to take photographs, as all tablets nowadays do. And we have the ability to capture a digital signature from the store itself. And here we can see she's undertaken the call actually in the store. She's set up the Christmas fixture. She's performing the call questions. She's taken the photographs on entry, photographs on exit, and any other photographs that are required. We've got a couple of really nice features with our technology. All our photographs are date and time recorded. So if you look at any photograph, and we have thousands of photographs, it has in the bottom right-hand corner the date and time that it was taken. Our tablets are all GPS, have GPS enabled, so we know where they are at any given time. And that's a really helpful feature. So recently we had one of our field staff in Cork who thought her tablet had been stolen from a store when she was undertaking some work, but we were able to track it down and find that she'd left it in one of the cabinets, locked up. In fairness to her, she'd locked it in there. She'd forgot that she'd left it there, but we were able to advise her that it was exactly in that store. So we have GPS tracking. We've also got a feature called Mobility Control, which is a fantastic feature, which means that the central team can actually take over the tablet remotely on their PC screen, and they can see what the merchandiser is doing at any given time through the camera on the tablet. So that's really helpful if we're doing a point of sale setup and they're struggling with that. They can ring the office and say, look, I'm struggling to see how this fixture should work, and our team can go through Mobility Control and say, hold up the tablet, let me see what's going on there, and actually give them support in real time in terms of setting up the fixture. And the field member of staff will gather the feedback, and it will be signed off by the store manager to the satisfaction of the store. And we have the facility then, through the technological platform we have, to have an online portal. And I was really interested in Jerry's points about how technology is an enabler. And I absolutely believe in that. I mean, I'm not a I was about to say techie. I'm not a techie guy, for all the techies in the room. But technology is absolutely essential in terms of how we manage our business and we report back. So we have the ability, with that level of information, for clients to access through a web portal the information that we have. They can actually go into individual photos if they so wish. So there's a lot of work in that if they want to do that. And some clients prefer just to get a summary report at the end. And I've got an example of a summary report. But the really important thing in respect of our approach, and as I said, this approach can be used by any business, is that it achieves availability and compliance. And I've shared with you the importance of availability and compliance. But it also ensures that there is insight. And through that insight, remedial action can be taken in the event that compliance and availability hasn't been achieved. Let me share with you very quickly some of the clients that we work on behalf of. And I'm not going to give away any detailed information. I'm just going to talk through some top-line information. I do have a specific example of how we can demonstrate how the technology increases sales towards the end of the presentation. So we work with the banks, we work with PTSB, and the technology enables us to do about 25,000 poster changes a year. We work with the studios. So eXPD8, particularly in the UK, have had a fantastic relationship with all the studios since their inception. And this year we have secured, the last remaining studio that we didn't do work for was Disney, and this year we secured that work. We've merchandised over 11 million DVDs throughout the UK and Ireland. These are combined figures since 2009. For Kerry Foods, we do about 30,000 calls a year. And for the fantastic Largo Foods and the Tato brands, we do in excess of 37,000 calls a year on behalf of that brand, making sure their products are available, making sure they're compliant, and making sure that they're attractive to consumers when they're in store. I'm not going to read out this because I'm sure you can't see it, and I'm struggling myself. But what it indicates is a KPI scorecard that we can produce on behalf of clients after the work has been done. It's only an example. We have a wealth of data and information, and we can cut and paste that in any way. What this particular one is for a launch for a studio, and it shows compliance and reasons for non-compliance. And it can be tracked over a period, over a week, over months, and so on. It's an indication of the granularity of the information that we can present and how it can be presented back. So through the technological platform, we can ensure compliance is delivered, we can understand the non-compliance reasons, and we can remedy non-compliance issues collaboratively with the client. I want to just share this example with you, and you'll be glad to know I'm nearly done. I just want to share this example with you. So this example here is on behalf of one of the studios. The horizontal axis is the weeks of the year, and the vertical axis is sales units. The red line is 2014, and the green line is sales in 2015. The flag pole is when we commenced providing the services on behalf of this particular client on a trial basis. The reason the year runs from week 16 to week 52 is because the product launched in 2014 in week 16, so it's not relevant to go back prior to that. But the really important thing here, I must see, does this, oh yeah, it does work, yeah. So the really important thing here is, if you can see the red dot there, if you look at the decline in sales from week 16 through to about week 23, you can see that the brand was hemorrhaging sales quite significantly. As a result of that, they asked us to get involved and to support the brand in the market, which we did in week 24. And you can see immediately we halted the decline in the first week. In the second week, we started to track round about the same level as 2014. So we stopped the decline, we started to track round about the same year-on-year level as 2014, and within a couple of weeks, I think by about week 26, we were tracking ahead of 2014. And that was a direct result of the approach we take and the technology that we use within that approach. And in terms of that, just for that trial period over those weeks, sales were increased by €102,000 in excess of, and there was a return on investment of 5.1. And what that means is that for the money that was paid to us to undertake the work that we do, every euro, that sales were increased by over 5 times. So there, I think, in summary, I think that demonstrates in a real practical example and a real life example from earlier this year how technology can support brands in delivering sales and delivering brand success. Thanks very much.